Hey, good morning, everybody. It's Wednesday. Time for another episode of Come On Ref. I am Chad Bryan. I'm your host. I'm here with, I got a plethora of people. I'm just going to let everybody introduce themselves because it's going to take too long for me to say everybody's name. Guys, what's going on? Who's with me today, man?
What's up? I'm Jameson.
I'm Aidan.
I'm Ben.
It's nice to meet you guys.
Yeah, really
Nice to
nice.
meet you guys. Hey, listen, we got a full show for you today. We got four-person show, man, first of all. We're going to check in with the Cleveland Force men and women's teams, as always. Obviously, got to talk about the NBA Finals, talk about something with the Browns. There's maybe a little new development with the Browns going on. They have a new fill in the blank. We'll get to that later. Maybe it's a wide receiver. Maybe it's a defensive end. Maybe it's nothing that exciting. We don't know. And then we'll check in with Ben for some from soccer and golf news toward the end. But first off, guys, I want to start with the Cleveland Force. The women were in action. It's AFC Ann Arbor. Lost 1-0. I was unable to find the goal information for this one this time, guys. I apologize. I don't have the information for who scored the lone goal in that one, but the women did lose 1-0 to Ann Arbor. They're actually back in action tonight. They'll take on Detroit City FC, and that's going to be at home at DeSanto Field. Kickoff is at 7 p.m. As always, you can get to clevelandforcesc.com and please support the girls. Go pick up tickets, head out there. From what I understand, I think Detroit City may bring a little bit of a rowdy crowd. So let's try to get some people in the seats and, maybe we'll be rowdy right back at them. We'll have some fun. It'll be a good soccer hooligan crowd. Right, guys?
Yeah, let's go out there and fight some people. I'm just playing.
We'll try to avoid the fights, but, we can yell some stuff. We can yell some fun stuff back, right?
Yes, sir.
The men were in action. They played Toledo Villa FC. Looks like they were 3-2 losers in that game, and they're going to be back in action the 17th against the same squad, and that'll be at home at DeSanto Field. I think that first game was in Toledo. Talked about it last week on the show, but yeah, they'll be back Saturday, June 17th, and kickoff is at 7 p.m. for that one. So again, clevelandforcesc.com. Support the men, support the women. Please pick up some tickets. Get out there. It's good soccer. It's fun. Weather's perfect for this, man. Get out there and just watch some good soccer.
Calling it now. Cole Preddy's going to score 2 goals.
There you go.
It's cheap and fun, easy to do. Something easy to do, man. Really, like a really good bargain. Soccer's
right. You
fun.
can go check out Ben's hot take. See if Cole Preddy scores 2 or more goals, right?
I think he is that guy for that team. I'm not going to lie.
He's always been that dude.
It's true. Hey, listen, let's move on. Let's move on to the NBA because, guys, it's over. It's over. The Denver Nuggets, man, the 2022-2023 world champions. I can't say that I'm surprised. Back when the playoffs started, I think I was kind of under the impression the Nuggets were going to win this whole thing. They looked unbeatable. When the series started, I said Nuggets in 5. I started to change my mind a minute when the Heat won game 2, but here we are. The Nuggets, wrapped it up in 5 games. First title in franchise history. That's, obviously, what do you say about that? But yeah, I'll talk a little bit about game 5. Clinched the title in a 94-89 win. As I said off the show, it's, something my good friend Aidan Vance would call a rock fight, I think. It was kind of an ugly game. Aidan, you want to what happened? The Nuggets were winning pretty all the playoffs, and they won an ugly game, right?
Just a lot of tired legs. It looked like out there.
Yeah.
Well, they played 20 postseason games, if I'm counting right. 5, 6, 5, right? So, a lot of tough games, 100+ games in a year, right? These teams are playing. At the end of it, you start to run out of gas. Shots are short, and then you get in tough crowds, defense tightens up. But at the end of the day, in a game like this, Jokic scoring 27 is really like in a normal game, 35, 40. That's how important 27 is in a game like this. So seeing that is just awesome. Jokic's best player in the world, utterly dominant against one of the probably 3 best defensive bigs in the NBA and Bam Adebayo. So just really unbelievable what he can do.
Yeah, he seems to do whatever he wants. It's amazing. James, do you have any thoughts on Game 5 or on the series? As a whole?
My thoughts are that playoff Jimmy was very tired, very fatigued, which is one of the reasons I think he had a down finals. Maybe he was dealing with some lingering injuries. But it also is hard to win in the finals against one of the best scoring teams in the NBA when your starting shooting guard gives you two separate games, not one, two separate games with 0 points and only has 2 solid games shooting the ball. That's not really going to help. It also doesn't help that Cody Zeller has the worst plus minus in the playoffs. Like literally, there was a stat when Cody Zeller is not on the floor, the Miami Heat offensive rating is 128. When he is on the floor, it is 64. It's literally cut in half. So they go from a finals team from when he's not on the floor to a church league team when he's on the floor. So I think he is probably one of the worst players. And I think that factored into their loss. They're not having a proper backup big man. And when Bam Adebayo, someone who's like not supposed to be your top scorer, is giving you the most effort, and it's not like Butler or Strus or Gabe Vincent, who just disappeared, right? Disappeared in the win like Obi-Wan Kenobi with the Force, just gone, right? I mean that
Cleveland for it? No, not the Cleveland Force.
Like that doesn't help when your supporting cast isn't really doing much supporting.
No, it doesn't. It really doesn't. And I mean, listen, you said it. I mean, 128 to 64. That's what you call a liability. And by the way, I've played some church league teams that are pretty elite, man. So I don't know if we want to put that out there, but I'm just saying.
I have a question for you guys.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Would Tyler Hero, if he played, would he have made like a huge impact to the point where it could have gone to 7 games, or do you think it wouldn't have?
Who's he guarding?
Well, we'll get to that. I mean, we'll get to that. First, I want to talk about – listen, we got to talk about Jokic because, I mean, Jokic was completely dominant, not only in this series, but just in the playoffs in general, all season long, really, but especially in this series. I mean, he was named the Finals MVP. By the way, lowest drafted player to ever be named Finals MVP, at 41st overall in the second round. I thought that was pretty impressive. It also became the first player in finals history to record a 30, 20, 10 triple-double. That game 3, 32 points, 21 rebounds, 10 assists. That's demoralizing, I think, to a team like the Heat when I don't know. When you become the first ever to do something in a series this important, I feel like it just – I mean, do you feel like that was the first – maybe like one of the first things that really took the wind out of the Heat's sails?
No, it's just the shooting variance. The Heat went back to who they were the whole season instead of this team that was shooting 40%. Like Jameson said, like these guys disappeared. But you're asking guys, right? Like they punched above their weight for so long in the playoffs. Like these are undrafted guys. As much as we want to say how cool the story it is, these are undrafted guys who made rosters by hustling and stuff, not being scorers. So like Max Strus made it by being a shooter, right? But he didn't shoot it well in the finals. That's how it goes sometimes. Gabe Vincent, he's a decent shooter. He made it by hustling and being a good positional defender. That happens. Sometimes you're not going to have it. Jimmy Butler is a really good player. He's a playoff riser, as they would call it. He turns into a top 15, top 20 player in the playoffs. Mm-hmm. But, he likes to get switches against smaller guards. And if you can't get Aaron Gordon off him, it's harder for him to shoot over him in the post or in the mid-range. So it makes it harder for Jimmy Butler. Like whenever Jason Tatum was on him, before Jason Tatum got hurt in Game 7, he had a tough time with him. That's why he's getting Derek White onto him consistently, Marcus Smart onto him consistently, because they were shorter, 6'4", shoot over him. Didn't matter what, there wasn't much contest. So you're asking guys that are punching already way above their weight to punch now against the best player in the world. Oh, and another one of the biggest playoff risers is Jamal Murray, who turns into a superstar in the playoffs. Then a max player in Michael Porter Jr., who's a top 15 pick, 6'10 sniper, and then Aaron Gordon, who was a top 5 pick, one of the best wing defenders in the NBA, who's one of the best cutters in the NBA, with KCP, who's one of the best 3-and-D 2 guards in the NBA. So you're like, whatever, Denver had a better version of everything pretty much that Miami had. And it's simple. Like, okay, Max Strus is our shooter. Well, MPJ is our shooter. MPJ. Okay, Jamal Murray's our point guard. He's a playmaker and a shot creator. All right, that's Gabe Vincent for them. That doesn't add up. Bam's our post player that we run through a hub with all handoffs and DHOs and stuff like that. Yeah. Well, you have Nikola Jokic. That's a better version of that. It just goes down. The only one that was better is Jimmy Butler for KCP, I guess. Kevin Love isn't better than Aaron Gordon anymore.
Yeah.
Or a 4 matchup. So it just everywhere you look, it's just like better. Then you go to the bench, like they got Cody Zeller. Okay, we got Bruce Brown.
Yeah.
That's not a cook. Christian Brown versus who off the bench? Oh, Caleb Martin. Caleb Martin played crazy for one series, averaged 9 points in the regular season. Taking Christian Brown in this series. Jeff Green, been in plenty of playoff games. Super long, physical defender, can shoot it, can still cut well.
Yeah.
Miami doesn't have dudes like that. They're taking 38-year-old Kyle Lowry with a bum knee, and he was their second best player in the last game.
Right.
So you're just asking guys to punch way too much above their weight.
I wanna say something on that. It's kind of like, it's kind of like when you see those Cinderella runs in March Madness. Like, let's go to St. Peter's 2 years ago. Made it all the way to the Elite Eight, and you face one of the powerhouse blue bloods in North Carolina. It's like they held their own in the first half, but they ran out of gas in the second half, and you can tell that. How did they get there? That grit, determination, hustle, like Aidan was saying. They weren't the greatest shooting team, but they were able to use their physicality and stuff like that to surprise teams. And then they got to a team that was like, that punched them in the face, like, oh shit, like these guys aren't scared of us. And then you end up losing, kind of like Fairleigh Dickinson last year. They go in there, they beat Purdue, and then you play, a 9 seed FAU, which they could have won it. They were like I think either winning or tied at halftime. And then fell apart in the second half because FAU came out and punched them in the face. And like, shit, these guys aren't scared of us. Like, it's kind of like what Aidan was saying. Like, the Heat punched above their weight for so long, and it's like it finally caught up to them when they faced, best player in the NBA and the Nuggets.
And it's also tough. Like, one of the reasons Mike Budenholzer got fired, besides yes, Giannis Antetokounmpo landed straight on his back and was out for 2 games. Could that have cost them a series? Most definitely. Also, putting a bigger defender on Jimmy Butler affects him more than anything else in the league, but you decided to leave 6'4" Drew Holiday on him. When the last time you played the Heat in the playoffs, you put Giannis on him and you swept them 4-0. So you just don't make adjustments and you lose the series. So that's on you, right, at the end of the day. So it's pretty simple. They punched above their weight. They got a good draw, right? Giannis gets hurt.
For sure.
For a couple games. Okay, we win that series. Jimmy gets hot, super hot one game, goes for 56? And then they go to the next round and play the Knicks. We ain't really worried about Julius Randle in the playoffs. Let's keep it above. We got to stop one guy. RJ Barrett, we let him shoot till the wheels fall off because he's not going to make more than 4 threes in a game. That just won't happen. And Josh Hart, not a shooter. I mean, like Mitchell Robinson, he can't process getting the ball anywhere outside of at the rim, so he's just going to short circuit and just turn it over. So like the draw they got, they go to the Eastern Conference Finals, and let's be honest, like the Celtics blew a couple of those games, and you sitting there wondering like, how did the Heat win? Because they weren't the better team the whole game, and then the Celtics just decided to just not play well. They went 3 straight. Jason Tatum gets hurt in the first minute. Crowd goes like this. Team goes like this.
I mean, he just capitalized on the Celtics' mistakes, like you said. Celtics made a couple mistakes, but you saw when the Celtics weren't making mistakes, they were able to win 3 in a row.
Yeah, and it felt like that didn't bode well for the Heat when the Celtics kind of came back and made that a series. It was like, okay, well, I mean, the Nuggets are a machine, Yeah, and it just felt like whoever clinched that Game 7 was going to be in trouble. Really, I mean, the Nuggets are so good. And speaking of it, I mean, we talked about the Game 3, 32 points, 21-10, and whatever. By the way, Game 4 followed that up, 53 points and 11 rebounds. I mean, what can you say about Jokic? I mean, I just don't even know.
And he's okay.
Yeah, he's okay. And my favorite part is, listen, stayed in perfect character, right? And he looked like the grumpy dad in sandals and socks doing it. I mean, even the post-game press conference. I mean, it just that's my favorite. That's my favorite part.
My favorite interview from him after the game, he was like, he's like, this is my job. He's like, obviously, he goes, most people don't like their jobs. He goes, if they do, I mean, they're lying. It's straight up what he said. So he looks at the NBA as a job, not like doing it for fun like most guys do. Another one of my favorite reactions from him was he's like, when can I go home? And like the parade's Thursday. He's like, oh, Thursday? Come on. He's like, you can go home Friday. He's like,
I wanted to go home Tuesday, man.
Yeah.
Right?
Jokic, I think.
He's like,
Jokic's going to retire in like the next 5 years.
No, that's what I said. Like, if Jokic
Are you
doesn't-
sure? Are you sure? We talked about it yesterday. I think he might have. Maybe he's sentenced to 10 years in the NBA. I think he got in trouble in Serbia. He doesn't look happy, right? Like,
Dude, Jokic doesn't. It doesn't look like Jokic has fun playing basketball. It's like he's the guy that wakes up and is like, oh, I gotta go play basketball again today. I mean, I'm good at it, but do I love it? Particularly no. He goes, I'd rather be horse racing, but.
It's so relatable. It reminds he reminds me of like I played like some co-ed softball, and he reminds me of like the end of fall league when you have to like play a semifinal game and then like wait in 30-degree weather to play the championship game or whatever at the end of the league. And like, can we just forfeit and go home? Like, second place is fine. I don't need a t-shirt. Like, can we please go home? Like, it's just so funny because it's so human and so relatable, man. Like, you think of these guys as like these untouchable athletes with perfect lives, and like, man, Jokic just wants to be out of there, man. He just wants to go home.
Jokic is going to be the guy that when he retires, he's going to go off the face of the earth. We'll never hear from him again.
Oh. Yeah.
And
that's ideal for him, I'm sure, right?
He's going to go back to Serbia and just start racing horses, and we'll never hear from him again.
Blend in as much as a 7-footer can, I don't know. I get it, man. I get it. I want to talk about like some keys, I think, to the series. We talked about the free throw thing. That all kind of fell apart over the last couple games of the series. Shooting went down a little bit. Things happened or whatever. But here, I think one of the major keys that I saw, the Nuggets outscored the Heat in the paint in this series by 13.6 points per game. And that was the highest margin in any of the playoff series. That's the Jokic factor, I think. But it also, I think it lends some credibility to what you said. I think the Heat just had some tired legs, Aidan. I mean, do you think that's – I mean, obviously Jokic is completely dominant in the paint, but, I mean, do you think that's part of it? I don't know.
Yeah, and their best downhill guy, Jimmy Butler, now you got to run through Aaron Gordon's chest, which is a lot harder than running through a lot of other dudes. I mean, dude's like 6'10", 250.
Yeah.
I think running through a brick wall trying to get downhill. So, like, you're asking Bam pretty much to be the guy that really gets downhill for you, and that's it, really. Victor Oladipo was out.
Yeah.
So it's like
they could have used Udonis Haslem, just saying.
Cody Zeller wasn't making a shot in the paint. You knew that for sure. What do you think, Jameson?
I mean, it just felt like the Nuggets were just like the bigger cousin at the cookout. And the
I'm playing me one-on-one right now.
Right, and the Miami Heat were like they were like the smaller cousin. They were like, oh, I could beat you. I beat everyone else, but they're not everyone.
And then going to what you said, the Nuggets like the bigger cousin. You got to let them win one game, right?
Right.
You can't let them feel completely demoralized. Hey, I beat you once. Hey, I beat you
I don't think
times.
they're close, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
That's for development. But listen, more than just the points in the paint, I wanted to talk about some of the individual matchups and just look at how they got there, okay? Jokic for the Nuggets, 17.2 points per game in the paint for the series for the Nuggets, okay?
How many points?
And like you said, Bam Adebayo, the real only downhill threat to get in the paint and score, he was right there. He was 14.4 per game for the Heat, right? But it's effort. It's the shooting percentage. It's just the efficiency. Jokic, what 62% from the floor in the paint, while Adebayo was, 45%, 36 for 80. So you look at how Jokic actually not just that he outscored Adebayo in the paint, but how he did it and how the Nuggets just seem to make it look easy. That's a huge, huge factor, I think.
Yeah. You're just asking Bam Adebayo to be a first option on offense when that's, at this point in his career, not who he is. He's a secondary, probably on a true championship team, he's a third option on offense.
Yeah.
You hope there's a guy even above really Jimmy Butler. You hope there's like just a 30-a-game guy out there somewhere that is your first, and then Jimmy's at 24, 25, then Bam's at 17, 18, being one of the best three defenders in the world. But you asked him to be the number one scorer in this series because Jimmy ran out of gas and had a tough matchup, right? So
kind of like the Cavs 2016. You had LeBron, at like 28. You had Kyrie at 21.
Yeah.
And then you had Love at like 16, 17.
Yeah, J.R. Smith and the teens.
I mean, like obviously, Love was a valuable piece, but like you said, it would have been like if we were asking him to be the number one scoring option, it just wouldn't have worked out against that Warriors team.
And don't get me wrong, I mean, he could be the number one scoring option on a mid-level team, but you don't want Kevin Love at that point even to be the number one scorer on a championship team. I mean, that's not
he was
too
skinny.
It's not gonna work.
He was too skinny then. He couldn't do the T-Wolves stuff no more.
That's it, man. That's it. The modeling career killed him, didn't it? What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? Listen, I found another stat. Just kind of poking through all the stuff out there that I thought was like really, really telling of just how good the Nuggets really are. Because obviously, Jokic gets all the credit and he deserves it. I mean, he's Finals MVP. He's dominant. We talked about it. But the Nuggets are really, really good, and they even over 20 games in the playoffs, they were very good without him on the floor. 176 minutes, okay, in 20 games. Nuggets are outscored by 3 points without Jokic on the floor. That makes the team unbeatable, I think.
I mean, game 4, he was off the court for like how long? Because he had 5 fouls, right? Or is that game 5 that I'm thinking of?
4.
Yeah, he was off the court for however
10
long.
minutes.
Yeah, and the Nuggets stuck right with him, and then you put him back in with 3 minutes left, and it's like, well, now we got to deal with this guy again.
Yeah. What do you guys say, Dylan?
I mean,
It's unbelievable.
I think it just shows. I think Jokic just showed throughout the whole postseason, right, why he should have been an MVP in the regular season, right? Like, I would like to imagine the whole time Jokic was in the finals, just absolutely dominating that Joel Embiid, that crying meme where he lost to the Raptors. I would imagine that's him the whole time because he knows that he has the most undeserving MVP.
Joel Embiid has the here damn MVP.
Yeah, like here, take it.
Here, God damn, take the trophy, man.
It's kind of like
you cried for it. Get it.
Literally a participation trophy. He's the kid that always finished second in the race, and then the girl's just like, all right, fine, I'll take it. Like,
Yeah.
whatever.
And it was weird because I don't remember the exact metrics, but I remember looking over it at the time, and I thought like, I mean, Embiid's a good player. He put up good numbers, but I kind of remember looking at it thinking like, man, he's probably the 3rd or 4th guy I would have picked right now.
Yeah, it was for me. It was Giannis and Jokic.
Yeah,
I mean, two best teams in the league.
Mm-hmm.
One's the best offensive player. One's probably a top 5 offensive player, and I don't know how many guys you take over on defense, right?
Yeah.
But these two dudes are ridiculous. And then it was Joel Embiid, and it was just like, okay, fine, take it. But I think this shows just how good Jamal Murray was the whole playoffs.
I saw
how good the rest of their supporting cast is, even without him on the floor. I mean, they would go small a lot when Jokic was off the floor with a combination of Green and Gordon at the 4 and the 5, which kind of spread people out. Michael Porter Jr. and KCP still in, and the offense running through Jamal Murray. And Jamal Murray, what he averaged in the series, 20, 21, and 10. So it's like it's giving you a double-double of 21 points. So it's like.
And that's another thing to kill the Heat's legs, by the way, going smaller, spread them out, moving around more. I mean, that's just.
I mean, talking about Jamal Murray being a playoff riser, I saw a stat that before he won the NBA Finals, he was averaging 27, 8, and 8 in 20 playoff games.
Mm-hmm.
So he's averaging nearly 30 points a game, like you said, a playoff riser. And then this year, he only averages 21, but like you said, he averaged 10 assists, which
he averaged 21 in the finals.
Yeah,
and in the whole playoffs, he was probably close to. I think he was close to 30. Through the first 3.
I mean, in the finals though, he like you said, they went small, and he became more of a facilitator because like he knew he was going to get his buckets when he needed to, but he knew that if he could get his teammates involved, that they would have a better chance to win the game.
No doubt.
Yeah. Jameson, I want to ask you something. Would Tyler Herro have made a difference in this series for the Heat at all?
Like if he played still with the injury, or if just no injury at all?
No, if he would have been healthy. I mean, everything being equal, he comes in healthy, not with a broken hand, whatever. But yeah, if he's healthy at game 1, I mean, does that make a huge difference?
I think they maybe get one more game, simply because like his shooting brings a lot to the table. He's a great offensive player. Yeah. He's got the toughness, the grit, the score, but his defense simply is just not there. Like if his defense was like kind of like on an Austin Reeves level, where it's like he's not the best defender, but he just like it's just 120% effort, then I think they could have forced 7. But realistically, they probably would have only got one more. They definitely would have won a game at home. I can tell you.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah. And it's not like anybody on the Nuggets starting 5 is out there just for their specifically just for their defense, because they could all score the ball, so it's not like you can just stick them on a dude in the corner and just play 4-on-4. Like he would have had to step up and guard somebody, and like they both said, he's not great defensively, but he can go out there and he could get you 30 points on a very efficient shooting night, but you can't defend anybody.
And it's tough too because the Nuggets probably would have stuck KCP on him, and he's one of the better guard defenders in the NBA. So you're asking him to again, punch at least at his weight as an offensive player versus a defensive player. Like, okay, he might go for 31 game, but next game he might just go 4 for 18 and have 12 points. So it's like,
and then with that lacking of, that lacking in the defensive area, I mean, what's the plus minus on that? That's
talking about lacking in defensive area. It's not funny, but it's coincidence that he broke his hand going for like he poked the ball loose and he was diving for it and he broke his hand diving for a ball in the first round of the playoffs. Like if he doesn't dive for that ball, maybe he's still healthy. But I mean, I get it. It's playoffs. You gotta put it on the line.
I also want to say
can't fault a guy for effort.
I also want to say one more thing about what Jameson had to say about Cody Zeller.
Mm-hmm.
The Heat lost by 5 points. Cody Zeller's first minute in, they were -5.
Yeah.
So,
so
I mean, he
in 1
lost.
minute, they were
he lost.
-5.
I mean, that's what it is.
he literally. Okay, so right. I remember watching the game, and I just
top 5 pick.
That goes to show that any of us, if we really put our mind to it, right? Like we could get
Jordan
drafted,
Hornets, baby.
right? Like, but his first minute in Game 5, like this is when I realized like the Heat might have been throwing the game, right? Because one, they put in.
Do we need to check his betting slips? Like, what's going on here, man?
Yeah. Like Eric Spoelstra's got something going on, but he put in Cody Zeller, right? First play, they give it to Jokic, absolutely murks him in the post, right? He scores. Then he sets a horrible pick for Duncan Robinson, gives zero space on it. Robinson goes for the layup. He gets the rebound, believe it or not. He actually got a rebound, crazy.
Wow.
And he airballed the putback. And then guess what? Denver comes down. Michael Porter Jr. 3, timeout, he's out. Like,
Dude, I'm telling you, they should
5-point swing. Like, why was he in? Why was he in? He's a bust. He sucks.
They should have used Udonis Haslem. They should have.
Honestly,
I just saw
probably right.
he was in like the start the fourth quarter with Bam, I think.
Like literally
And,
a minute.
And somebody said, our season's on the line, and I see this salesman out here right now. And I just lost it. This. I was
this
crying.
telemarketer, like who's not like literally like people like that should have their height revoked.
Is his brother still in the league?
No, but Tyler Zeller probably would have been even better than Cody Zeller. Literally a broomstick would have been better than Cody Zeller. All right,
Tyler Zeller.
Not even the broom, just the broomstick.
In the dark.
Tyler Zeller at least had that baseline jumper. Cody Zeller has no move.
Yeah, it was just Tyler. Yeah.
Like Cody has no move. He has no bag. He just sets picks, and he's like, "Oh, I play for the Hoosiers." That's cool.
He's like that dude at the rack that like is actually good at the rack, but then you stick him in like a 5-on-5 game, and he's just like, "What do I do? Where do I go?"
Shoot around. He's Kareem, and then in game he's DJ Benga. It's like, oh my god, like
who?
It's exactly.
He might
Pretty
be-
wide range, man. That's a wide range.
He might be the biggest bust of all time. He sucks.
Nah.
No, he's terrible.
Anthony Bennett and Kwame Brown.
Anthony
still
Bennett
are
at least is big enough to set a pick where it's like,
I probably
like
could
it's
have
a
set a better screen.
right, like exactly. And Kwame,
Kwame
played like
Brown.
12 years. So like,
Hey, look, man, we can talk about the plus minus.
No.
We can bag on anybody, but I mean, honestly, the Heat have no reason to hang their heads, right? I mean,
No, great
like you
season.
said, man, they punched above their weight. I mean, almost the whole playoffs. It's amazing what they did. Really.
There's only a couple teams that should be disappointed in their season. Golden State, Celtics, Bucks,
Yeah.
Sixers,
Cavaliers.
You can throw the Cavs in there. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, hey, you can throw the Cavs in there. They at least should have gotten to the second round.
Memphis probably.
I mean,
Yeah.
John's about to be out half the season. That sentence about to
like you said, they punched above their weight. I mean, they were the only team to ever make the finals after not being favored in all 4 series, or in the first 3 series. They were the only team to ever do that.
That's amazing.
Really?
Yeah.
Not even a 99 Knicks.
It said they were the first team to ever be underdogs in the first 3 series and make it to the finals.
Because who did the Knicks play in?
They played like the Heat. And yeah, they might have been favored against the Heat. Actually, I believe that.
The poor Heat, man. Here we are bagging on the Heat again from back in the day.
I mean, too. All right. We didn't bag on the Heat. We bagged on Cody Zeller and a little bit of the Hornets for drafting him top 5.
Like, if he gets signed next year, like, I'm trying out for the G League. Because, like, I can't. Like, I really cannot. Because, like, dude is just – he's terrible. He's so bad.
Dude,
So bad.
it's like when that one clip goes, if aliens are coming down to Earth, who do you want taking the last shot? Cody Zeller.
Listen, I don't disagree with this. The boys, the Nuggets had the easiest road to a championship ever. You can't disagree with that. I mean, the numbers say it, right? The seeds, I mean, they'll tell you the story.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
True, the Steeds say it, but then you look at the teams they
Yeah, for sure.
You know.
For sure. Yeah, it's hard to quantify who's playing, like what at what time of year. I get that. But yeah, the numbers of the seeds seem to point to that. Hey, I want to get your guys' thoughts. Aidan, we'll start with you. What do you early favorite to win the title next year? Do you guys have any thoughts?
The boys. Okay, the boys. Hold on. I got you. The Nuggets had the easiest road to the championship ever. They had one of the easiest roads, I guess, but that's what you get when you are the best Western Conference team in the regular season. So, like, you win in the regular season, you have the easiest road. I want to be honest, like, probably about the Lakers team. Like, I know they're a 7 seed. If that team's together all year, they probably win close to 50 games, or 50 games are probably top 4 seeds. So it's like you look at it differently. The first round series against the Timberwolves, trash. Except for Aaron Edwards, let's be honest. Trash. Phoenix, like, Chris Paul got hurt, and Kevin Durant wasn't really himself.
Mm-hmm.
Devin Booker was awesome. Then you get to the Western Conference Finals. AD, LeBron, D'Lo played trash. But that's what you get when you're the number 1 seed, man. Sometimes you get the luck of the draw because you're the best team in the conference. Yeah. And then you don't expect the East to go like that, but it is what it is. Yeah. But I agree, it was an easier road, right? But every road's pretty hard, so I'm not going to try to discredit it at the moment.
No, it's what it just happens to be the way it was. It's no big deal.
We're all professional athletes for a reason. Like, any team could win on any given day. So it's
listen, I don't think we're going to bag on them like we bagged on the Lakers in the bubble, right? I mean, everybody just acts like that championship doesn't count, right? So.
Dude,
bubble basketball was so fun.
That was literally dude just going out there being like,
it was AU basketball.
Dude, it was, and it was. Yeah. It was probably some of the best basketball we've seen in a while.
That there was no depth perception. It was just like in a regular gym, like best shooters in the world shooting.
Like the best player, like the best players.
Any team can win NBA, except the Pistons. What? You got San Antonio in there this year?
The Hornets? Like
the Hornets, yeah.
Hornets are
the boys. Yeah, the boys. I agree. It was an easy road, though, man. I'm for sure with you on that.
Yeah, for sure. So let's get back to that. I want to talk about early title favorites for next year. Aidan, what do you think? I mean, who's your one squad that you would pick right now? I mean, obviously you want to say the Nuggets. Let's go. Oh, I'll tell you what. Let's even make it more interesting. You can't say the Nuggets. Let's take another team. Who's your early title favorite?
Milwaukee.
Okay.
As long as Giannis doesn't get hurt, they're probably in the finals.
Yeah. Okay. Ben, what do you think? It's a good point.
Probably have to go Milwaukee as well. I mean, part of me wants to say the Cavs, but I don't know if they're going to make any. I don't know if they're going to make the right, moves to, elevate themselves. But I think it'll be Milwaukee as well.
You want to?
I think that Cavs team has to develop to the point where they can get out of the first round.
The Cavs are a few years away from that. You want to split it into like conferences, so one team a conference.
We could, yeah.
You could do that. Yeah.
I'll go. Oh, that gets rough for the West.
Mm-hmm.
I'll go Bucks and.
Because the Nuggets are the best team in the West this year. I don't think it's going to change next year.
I got something for you, but that's okay. I'll tell you in a minute.
I don't want to say Phoenix now. It's Phoenix.
I heard it whispered. I heard it.
It's the. I go Bucks Lakers.
Ooh, okay. Okay, Jameson, I think I heard you whisper. What did you say?
All right, so for the East, like I don't want to say the Cavs,
nah,
because like come on, it's a Cleveland team. For the East, oh my God, these two already said the Bucks. So let me think of a team not the Bucks. Yeah.
All right,
I would have
Celtics,
not Philly.
You got,
you know what?
Got the Nets.
We're just gonna throw one out here. We're just gonna stir it up here. Give me the Atlanta Hawks. All right,
Okay.
give me the Atlanta Hawks.
Give me a trash can. I need
Trae Young's going to have an Allen Iverson type season next year. He's literally going to be scoring out the gym.
Even if they trade,
where did that come from? That's
you can record this, screen record it right now. I don't care. He's going to have 28 and 11. The Hawks are going to make another run like they did a few years ago.
Even if they trade DeJounte Murray, like there's talks they might.
Yeah, because DeJounte Murray is very valuable. I think they would get a lot back. And then when I go to the West, I think the Lakers are a good pick. But another team that I think would be a nice pick would be the Sacramento Kings, because they could have very well beat the Golden State Warriors, and I think they would have even given the Lakers some trouble.
I agree.
Because they had an MVP candidate in Domantas Sabonis, and they had the first ever Clutch Player of the Year award winner in De'Aaron Fox, and they just got some straight up hoopers and scorers on that team. And Mike Brown he's an elite coach,
and they can shoot the lights out of the ball too.
Playoffs, so.
They can shoot the lights out of the ball too.
Mm-hmm.
How many lights are in the ball?
A bunch.
A bunch.
Enough
Okay, well, that's good. That's
Cody
good.
Zeller
That's not
to ruin a team.
Hey, listen, maybe it is kind of a hot take. In the East, I think it's the Bucks. I think the Bucks get back. As long as Giannis is healthy.
Very original.
What's that?
It's a very original.
I know. Yeah, I'm going out on a limb. That's not the hot take. The hot take is in the West for me. I think the Suns could be the 1 seed, and I'll tell you why. Frank Vogel. Listen, the Suns. They played Denver pretty tough in that series for kind of having a roster that was in flux, and that situation felt chaotic with Phoenix, right? Like kind of down the stretch. They got thrown together at the last minute. They never really gelled. But Frank Vogel comes in, and he's going to do what Frank Vogel does, which is like, listen, the Suns were pretty good in the regular season on defense, right? 7th in the league, I think, in defensive rating. They dropped to 14th out of 16 playoff teams in the playoffs for their defensive rating. Vogel's not going to let that happen, right? Frank Vogel's a defense guy. 3 times in 11 years of coaching, he's had a team finish number one in the NBA in defensive rating. And 2 other times, I think he's had teams in the top 3. So if the Suns can be consistent on defense and give that effort, man, with KD and I don't know. I just think that's a dangerous team out of the West. They could be the 1 seed. I think you can see the Suns take the Bucks down in like 6 games, 7 games in the final.
It's just so hard. What KD are you getting? Because he's aging, and like every year it looks like he's just like a little worse in the playoffs whenever he plays.
Maybe, but I think with a little bit of stability that defensive effort brings, and I think that's what Vogel does for a team. I think that helps them.
The Suns are gonna be.
Oh my goodness!
I agree. The boys. Who's playing defense on that squad? That's my question.
Yeah, they gonna win games 148 to 146, man.
Yeah, but
that's okay.
That's always going to be tough, and they cleared up some cap space.
There you go.
But we'll see what happens.
Yeah. So I got Suns Bucks early on, man. That's what I'm saying right now. We'll see how wrong I am. We have a year.
Outside of Denver.
All right, that's fine. There's no reason to not stick with Denver. But yeah, I think Phoenix could be really dangerous.
No doubt.
Well, listen, let's move on from the NBA. All right, we're done with the NBA for today, aren't we?
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, okay. Let's talk about the Browns. Everybody likes to talk about the Browns. Listen, the Browns.
Whoa.
Oh, that's not good. But it's exciting. Listen, the Browns have a new wide receiver? Hopkins? No. Defensive end. They were going to sign. No. Is it a new owner? That'd be exciting. That'd be really exciting.
We need that.
We need that. But it's not. It's a new logo. And that's pretty cool, I guess. They got the Bull Mastiff logo out here. What do you guys think about the new logo? Any thoughts on that?
I actually like it.
Yeah.
I like it a lot.
Okay.
So I think
like
you the Puma logo then?
No, I don't think so.
No.
Or is this just like
I think this is like a
logo?
fan art. That's gonna be like a secondary logo, almost like the elf thing.
Okay.
So, but I think it looks really cool. I mean, it's a really good
like
design.
it. Yeah. I really like it too.
So I'm cool with it. I think it looks really good, and maybe do something with it. I don't know, on the uniform. I know they won't put it on the helmet or anything, which I don't know how they would put that thing on the helmet. That would look crazy, but
yeah.
Maybe a patch on a jersey or something. I don't know, but I think it's dope.
Yeah, well, listen, it was designed by a guy named Houston Mark, and I think that the thing that I like about it is just all the kind of hidden design elements that kind of go into it. And I've got no Blue Man on the episode this week. I know that's disappointing to everybody, but we can kind of go through. I want to spot shadow like just some of the design elements to the logo. I think they're pretty cool. If you look up in the top left corner, I guess it would actually be the dog's top right, but whatever, it doesn't matter. You look at that's roughly the shape of Ohio. I don't know, exactly what happened there. It's a little rough.
It looks like
we lost a little bit of that West Virginia region down there, but that's okay. But obviously that signifies, the state that the Browns play in. I think that's self-explanatory.
Awesome.
I don't know if you guys noticed that the nose is in the shape of a football. That's the sport that they sometimes play
ran over
when they suit up on Sundays. Sometimes they play football. And then we don't have to spend a lot of time, but look at the dog tag. I thought the dog tag was cool. They got Municipal Stadium worked into there, right?
Oh, that's dope. Yeah.
They've got so many things. The East End Zone, where the dog pound kind of originated back in the day. And then the guitar pick, I thought, was kind of cool.
Yeah.
A nod to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. I thought that was a really cool thing.
That's super dope.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, and that nothing goes under, like, you know, everything was thought of, right? Look at the spikes on the collar. 8 spikes, 8 Browns championships, right? No Super Bowls, unfortunately. But yeah, the 8 NFL championships are represented by the spikes there. I thought that was another nice little touch. And then just bringing the city of Cleveland into it a little bit, the Guardian Bridge. I thought that was kind of cool. If you look there on the jowls, kind of like, you know, where the mouth is below the nose. They've got the Guardians of Traffic there. I thought that was pretty cool. And then, you know, I guess the last couple things up here are at the top of the dog's head. They've got the dog pound, the maskless, you know, the dog pound helmet that's worn by pretty famously by the fans in the dog pound. I mean, there's a picture of it. You see the guys, right? They look like reasonable fellas. They're going to have a nice Monday back at work after their tailgating experience, I'm sure, right?
Nice little.
I don't know how they do it.
Why did that guy spell Cleveland CIE?
It's an L. It's a lowercase.
Well, I don't know. You're right though, because look at the L's are different. You know what?
Jesus.
That's what happens when you spend too much time in the Muni lot and go, you know what we should do? We should make a sign. That's what happens. Honestly. Forever. And that did not.
I think he was going to write the record and realize how bad it was.
Helmet stripe, you know.
And then the helmet stripes right in the middle of the head. Listen, I love the logo, man.
I do.
I think
it looks intimidating.
All the meanings behind it are pretty cool. How they tied in, what Cleveland's known for.
Yeah, this is the best Browns logo in a while.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
it screams dog pound, and that's what
it does. Yeah, it does. Yeah.
I'd like to. I don't know if we're ever gonna get off just the Browns helmet as the logo, but like to move to something more like this. But who knows with what we're doing? So
right.
We just like the orange helmet, baby.
Yeah, generic.
Who does now? Who does?
No thought. No nothing.
Caveman logo.
Let's go.
Just the caveman dog. How do we do that? Is that a thing we can do, by the way?
Would be better than an orange helmet.
True. You don't like the plain orange?
No.
Nah. What I mean, okay, listen. Would you rather have this dog logo? Would you like to see numbers on it? I mean, if they can't switch it up because the NFL has whatever rules the NFL has, right? It's kind of, I guess that's a little bit annoying. But yeah, what would you want to see? Numbers, the dog, the elf? What do you guys want to see?
The elf, because that's when we were like winning.
Yeah, I like the elf, but I like the dog logo, to be honest. I mean,
yeah,
maybe it's a new age. Maybe we need something new. I mean, we don't got.
I think it would look bad on a helmet, to be honest.
Now that the NFL passed that, teams are allowed to wear, multiple, helmet, like different color helmets. I think it'd be cool, if the Browns had, their classic orange helmet, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you give them a white helmet, and you could put the dog, brown on the side of the helmet, and you could represent the new dog logo.
Fire, man.
Yeah, and then you could kind of mess with the stripe a little bit. I mean, you could kind of invert the stripe colors or whatever. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things you could do.
Now, Ben,
not bad from a Steelers fan, by the way. Not bad, Ben.
All right, we are the Browns.
Yes,
it's true.
Browns is the
our
Browns.
last uniform change, we had to go back to the old jerseys because they were so bad. But
they went oranger at one point. Remember?
Yeah, it was like
more orange, which I like. I just love to say oranger. I think that's fun.
Yeah, it was.
That was a questionable design. I definitely like the logo better than the more orange look.
Jeff Garcia for like half a year.
Just stop.
Why are we talking about Jeff Garcia?
Hey,
listen, let's move on from football to football. All right, see what I did there? Hey, Ben,
football.
Football, yes, football. Ben, tell me why ticket prices in Miami right now are such a messy situation.
Some dude by the name of Lionel Messi, arguably the greatest soccer player of all time.
Wow. That was a bar.
So I didn't just spell Messi wrong and make a mistake. Did I do something here?
No, you didn't spell it wrong. Spell it correct.
Nice. All right, sweet. All right. Well, tell me what's going on, man. What happened?
So, so Saudi Arabia, they're offering, all these big players, towards the end of their career, a bunch of money. They offered Ronaldo, huge deal. They offered, Karim Benzema, the reigning Ballon d'Or winner, which is, the biggest trophy you can win, individual trophy you can win. They offered him, a big deal, and then they offered Messi the highest deal ever for a professional athlete at
Is it 2.3 billion?
Though 2 years, $1.62 billion. And Messi turned it down because he strictly said, I don't think the competition in Saudi Arabia is high enough as it is in America. And his deal with Miami is one of the craziest deals ever. I mean, I don't know if you guys remember when David Beckham came to the United States, his deal with LA Galaxy was
Huge.
not only was it huge, I don't know the exact numbers,
Was it
but
like 10 years?
I think it was like 10 years or something like that. Yeah, but he also had the rights to, he got percentage of the jersey sales, ticket sales, all those like percentage of like the stuff sold in the pro shop, like vendor sales, percentage of that, percentage like season tickets. You know, he got his own jersey sales. And then he also had the rights to start his own expansion club, which is now Inter Miami. Lionel Messi's contract is he gets so MLS this year moved to Apple TV Plus. You know, like NFL Red Zone this year is on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the NBA has their own, NBA Game Pass. MLS Game Pass is on Apple TV Plus. They signed I think it's a 10-year, $1 billion deal with Apple to stream the games on Apple TV.
Man.
Messi gets a percentage of all those subscriptions from now until his MLS career is over. He gets a percentage of jersey sales, percentage of ticket sales, percentage of just like everything that Inter Miami pretty much profits off of. He's the biggest Adidas, one of the biggest Adidas, athletes in the world. So every shoe that they sell in Miami that's Adidas, he gets a percentage of it.
Really? Just
And
Adidas in general, not even.
Well, it's Adidas soccer cleats.
Okay. I was gonna.
Adidas
Okay.
soccer cleats. And then he also has the rights to become co-owner of Inter Miami with David Beckham or start his own expansion team when he retires from the MLS.
Okay.
It's the biggest deal. He's in total, he's guaranteed $150 million a year, basically.
Listen, it's well deserved. I mean, there's just such stupid money in soccer. It's amazing.
I hold $1, Messi.
Yeah.
I mean, and okay, and I want to talk about ticket prices because that's on the screen.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say real quick. Like, how does it? I mean, how does this affect Miami and just MLS overall, right?
Before he signed with Inter Miami, ticket prices, are around like $30 to $70.
Yeah.
But now it's like $350, $400. And I sent this to Bryan over email. Every game against Inter Miami, home or away, is now sold out for the rest of the year. Every single game. And
even with the new ticket prices, just like that.
And Inter Miami is now also like one of the most followed Instagram accounts in the world because of Messi.
Wow. So yeah,
Does
well
anyone
deserved.
have the social media presence like Messi? No.
He's the biggest athlete in the world. Soccer is the biggest sport in the world. The boys.
Easily the biggest.
I mean, it's just the biggest. Like,
You can't argue with it. I know there's all the baseball purists and the football guys, whatever, but you can't argue with it, man.
No,
It is what it is.
it's not close.
Talking about Messi being the biggest athlete in the world, when he won the World Cup, his hometown, Rosario, Argentina, every single person was on the street in his hometown waiting for him to return. And when he returned, they started chanting his name, and he could not walk down the street. You don't get me wrong. Yes, LeBron won a title for Cleveland. Cleveland started out during the parade. But you literally could not move in Rosario, Argentina. People were outside his grandma's house the night they won asking for, her autograph, basically, because, she's the one that, she was part of Messi's life. Yeah. And it's just crazy that, and, Bryan was telling me that there's, a big Argentina population in Miami, which will help, again, grow the game of soccer. Because not only is he from Argentina, but people from Argentina want to see him play. And so they're going to travel to Miami because it's warm. Yeah. It's a great sports city.
Yeah.
Yeah, great sports city.
Yeah.
And they're going to want to see him play. And
listen, I'm going to make a distinction because it's a good city for sports, but great sports city usually means to me there's like a lot of loyal fans. We've talked about Miami fans kind of being transient in nature a little bit, but I think with the ticket prices being where they are, you're not going to see transient fans anymore. You're not going to see casual fans jump in and go, let's see what this team's about. When they're down 3-0, we'll jump out of here. But people are going to stay for the entire match, I think now.
This is one of those things where it's like, I don't normally spend money on tickets, that are over like $100.
Yeah.
But this is one of the ones that when Messi comes to Columbus, not this year, but next couple seasons, I will be splurging and I will be going to see an Inter Miami versus Messi or an Inter Miami versus Columbus Crew game, and I will spend the money to go watch my idol for playing soccer, play
That's cool.
in my home state.
No doubt.
Fun fact about Messi too: his first ever contract was signed on a napkin.
Ah,
His first ever contract. It's hanging. In Barcelona's manager's office. They're not allowed to remove it. Whoever the manager is, whether you like Messi or not, you cannot take it down. It's hanging in their office on a napkin.
that's cool. That's cool. Well, listen, I mean, it's obviously global impact. I mean, just a
Oh, for sure, yeah.
not even a regional, national. It's just I mean, he has a global impact, and if we knew of anything beyond, I'm sure he'd have an impact there too. Yeah.
One last thing before we move on.
Mm-hmm.
This tells you how big he is. The MLS is considering just calling him in as an All-Star game starter when he's not even eligible to play until July, and the All-Star game is like 2 days after he's eligible to play.
I mean, I would do it.
I do.
Right.
Here's the thing.
We said it the other night. Put him in the glass. Put him in the Pope Mobile. Parade him around. Hey, look at this guy, right?
Yeah. Here's the thing. I wouldn't play him because then you're taking a spot from another player. Like you said, have him show up to the game. Just him being there, you're going to get people to sell out because you know they're going to want his autograph.
Have him go in the booth for 15 minutes. You think people wouldn't want to hear him talk about? I mean,
people like don't take a spot from another player, but like let's talk to this other player. Like, hey, bro, if we play this dude in the game, that's gonna get more fans. That means you get a bigger bag at the end of the day.
Mm-hmm.
So we're gonna have you sit this one out for me, okay? And Messi's in,
and he can still be recognized as an all-star.
Yeah, you're an all-star starter. Fake an injury right now. All right, he's out. Messi's in. Let's go. Like
clock hasn't even started running yet. How did he get hurt?
Yeah.
Hey,
but yeah, it's big for the sport of soccer, not only worldwide but in the state of America because like we say he's the biggest soccer player ever, and he comes to the MLS, which isn't known for having the best players in the world. It's one of the big reasons why we haven't won a World Cup because we don't have the best players.
Mm-hmm.
But the biggest social media presence in the world coming to America, it's going to grow the game of soccer tremendously.
Yeah, could not have said it better myself. Huge impact on the state of America. Good job, Ben. Hey, listen. Watch it back. He said it. Can I ask you another question? I want to move on. I want to talk about golf for a minute. Why are Live Golf and Phil Mickelson's High Flyers? What's going on? Why are they being sued? I don't understand.
So I'm not 100% sure. Well, I know why, because they copied the logo for Phil Mickelson. So in Live Golf, there's captains picked out, and each captain has their team and their logo and stuff like that. It's like a professional sports league.
Okay.
And, his logo is very identical to. I think we have a picture of it. It's very identical.
Let's take a look. I mean, is it similar? Did they copy? Let's take a look.
So,
God, dang.
I don't know where the Fallen Footwear is from, but as soon as
what are they thinking? That's nowhere near the same thing. I mean, that's clearly on the high. Come on, that High Flyers logo is just a little bit thinner. That's clearly not even the same thing.
As soon as the High Flyers logo came out, Fallen Footwear reached out to Live Golf and Phil Mickelson and said, "Hey, the logos are like pretty identical. Can you switch your logo?" And that was over a year ago.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so Live Golf and Phil Mickelson did nothing about it.
Because they have all the money in the world. I mean, essentially.
But again,
they probably feel like they don't have to.
Yeah.
Agreed. But again, this is how Live Golf is going to become dysfunctional because they're just going to start thinking, we have all the money in the world, we can get sued by everybody. But eventually, people aren't going to want to play for you because you just don't give a crap about how it's being run.
Listen, man, they're already Darth Vader on the Death Star out here. I mean, how much more can you push until, there's a big pushback? I mean, those logos. I mean, take a look at it one more time. That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Listen, you think Phil Mickelson and Live Golf can't afford a copyright attorney to, I don't know, briefly scour the internet to see if there's anything relatively close to that logo?
No doubt.
Yeah, it's like I don't know where that Fallen Footwear is from, but it's like clearly if it's been trademarked, it's been around for a while. So it's like you can't tell me that yes, the logos are different, because the High Flyers one, if we can throw it up one more time, the High Flyers one is, it's obviously you can see it's more spaced out, but you're called the High Flyers. Why? I don't get what the point of having two F's is.
Yeah. Well, there's an H in the middle. I mean, that's what they were going for.
I get that.
They moved that bar down, but come on. I mean, that's
right. It's literally identical. There's no you can't tell me.
It's absurd. I mean, that's ridiculous. Like I said, Phil Mickelson and Live Golf, I think, can afford a decent copyright attorney to make sure that that's not a problem. You see the chat here. Essence, hold on. Essence says he saw a new pro basketball league steal someone else's logo recently. And again, as Live Golf, they got dragged on Twitter.
not only are they getting dragged
fault, but it looks like the designer might have done it on purpose. Essence said, I don't know. I mean, that has to be done on purpose at this point too, right?
No doubt.
Not only are they getting dragged on Twitter, they just partnered up with the PGA Tour, and PGA Tour pros are dogging on them too, because it's like, they're like, you just signed a deal with us, and now this is coming out like it's making us look like the bad guys, even though we're not associated with you because you're associated with us. It's like, and I think Roy McIlroy said it best. He goes, I know I'm going to get fined for this, and he goes, I don't really give an F. He goes, but there's a reason why I didn't associate with them in the first place. He goes, because they think they're higher than everybody else. He goes, exactly what he said. He goes, they're getting sued because they didn't care about the logo, because they think that just because they have the money that it's not going to matter.
And that's exactly what's going on here. I think big bank take little bank. Everybody knows that. That's what the Saudi Arabians and Live Golf, I think, are banking on, literally.
Yep. And
on those fallen footwear,
I stand with.
I really hope that they. Yeah, I hope they do.
I stand with Roy McIlroy because, I don't blame him. Why would you want to play for somebody that just doesn't care about legal actions, legal liabilities, and stuff like that? It's
rights. I don't know. I mean, that's an issue too.
Probably.
It just. I don't know.
I
always said that Live Golf wouldn't last forever because of stuff like this. You knew stuff was going to happen when money gets involved. It always does. And when the PGA Tour isn't paying like a league, kind of like a league style, it's going to last forever because stuff like this doesn't happen. Players come up with their own logos, but they literally sit down with the company, with a design, with a design artist, and they make their own logos. And if it happened, I forget who it happened with, but there was a professional golfer who had almost an identical logo to Tiger Woods, and he literally sat down with Tiger Woods' design artist and said, "Hey," the designer goes, "Hey, I love your logo." He goes, "But it's awfully similar to Tiger Woods." He goes, "Let's sit down, let's come up with a new one," and he came up with a new one, and Tiger Woods actually promoted it on his Instagram when it first happened, and it was it's like if you're nice and just change stuff, good things happen. Yeah. Your stuff gets promoted, and then he sold out a bunch of clothing right away. So it's just crazy. You couldn't, Chad, I think you said it, you couldn't find somebody to sit down and scour the internet and make sure there's no logos that look identical.
It's a pretty easy process. If you're I know a couple of people who are copyright attorneys. It's not a difficult process to do.
Yeah.
And listen, the boys, same. My high school they got a letter, a cease and desist letter from from Wisconsin. We used to have they call it the Flying W or whatever. No, not the Flying W. I think that's a truck stop, right? That's the Flying J. No, I think it was the Flying W. They said, listen, you expressly have to stop using the Flying W logo, or legal action will, that'll be next. And so my high school changed their logo or whatever. I mean, they're not backed by Saudi Arabia. What were they gonna do?
And one last thing I want to say, there's another big major tournament coming up for golf, and PGA Tour reached out to Phil Mickelson and Live Golf and told them that Phil Mickelson isn't allowed to compete because of the whole legal allegation, and told him that if a Live Golf player wants to play in it, it's a $250,000 fine out of their pocket just to play in the tournament.
Wow.
So, like I said,
pocket change.
Like I said,
yeah.
PGA Tour wanted to stay independent, but I don't know the whole backstory because it hasn't been released yet. But
yeah,
something was posed by Live Golf that made the PGA Tour bite on it, and you can already tell that the PGA Tour is regretting it because it was supposed to only be $100,000 that players are getting fined to play. Yeah. Now you bumped up to $250,000, and it's
starting to get a little expensive. But as I heard someone say over there, it's kind of pocket change for Live Golf and the Saudi Arabians. I think that's they print that money, probably every other minute.
Mind you this, you get $300,000 in Live Golf if your team comes in last place.
Yeah, right. So, exactly. It's absurd. It's absurd. Well, hey, I've said it before. Listen, guys, our team. Do you have one more thing to say?
Yeah, I think you get $300,000 if you come in last place in your group.
That's amazing.
All right,
so
that's amazing. Listen, man, I've told you guys before, you guys never come in last place in any group when it comes to me, man. I think you guys are the best. I'm going to get out of here because I know we're going to have trouble walking down the street once we end the show. I always, I have trouble getting out of here and even getting in my car. There's so many people that want to crowd around and get my autograph. So let's jump out here, man. For the full house, man, for Aidan, Ben, and Jameson, our producer, Byron Coats, the guy that makes it all happen, Brian Collins, man. want to thank you guys so much. I'm your host, Chad Bryan. Just as always, thanks for watching. We appreciate you sticking with us. Listening in your car, watching whatever, texting me later and telling me weird things I said on the show. I'd love to hear it, man. Thank you guys so much.
Peace out, y'all.
Take care.